here. So thank you guys so much for coming today. We have a special guest host with us today, Don from CHCH. So, the next gentleman we're going to bring out here, and then Don's going to take over. You guys remember him as the 16-and-a-half-year-old boy wonder.
Yeah.
Since then, he has gone on, him and his wife, do the largest giant breed dog rescue in the world. In over 5 years, or 25 years, they saved 15,500 dogs. Come on, guys, make some noise. All right, we've gone from the Cape Crusader to the Canine Crusader. Holy applause, it's Burt!
Since we're in a small venue here, just if you have a question you'd like to ask about the series, about our show, anything, you can just raise your hand and I'll answer each question. All right, here's the gentleman over here.
How'd you land the role of Rob?
How did I get the role of Rob? Well, I was a young actor going to UCLA, studying acting, working with a professional coach. And I was selling real estate on the weekends, and I sold a house along with my father to a producer who was kind enough to watch a scene that I did, and then said, you know, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you to an agent, and the agent can perhaps try to get you some work. So he sent me to this Hollywood agent. The first thing the Hollywood agent said was, I can't get work for the actors I've already got. I would never take you, but because of this producer, I'm going to do it, so don't expect to work for a year, and if you do get a chance, you'll have one line or something. Very encouraging, right? So it was a couple of weeks later, and then I got a call from someone in that agent's office who said, there's something going on at 20th Century Fox. We don't even know what it is. Just go over there at 4:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, and you'll see a casting director, and you know, you can try out for the part if they want to see you. So I went over there the next day to 20th Century Fox. I didn't have any knowledge what the role was or anything. I just was given a specific bungalow to go to and to meet a certain casting director, which I did. And the casting director was very nice. He said, would you like to meet the executive producer? I figured, sure. I mean, figured everybody got to meet the executive producer. That's actually not true, but I didn't know that. So I went in to see the executive producer. His name was William Dozier. And I said, hello, Mr. Dozier. And I shook his hand really firm, and I think I caught him off guard. He wasn't expecting that kind of energy. And he said, looked at me and said, well, you're kind of big for this part. I said, oh, sir, I promise you, I won't grow anymore. He laughed. I mean, how could you stop growing? And we talked for a little bit, and then he said, would you like to have a screen test? I said, sure. I figured, you know, everybody got to have a screen test. That's not true either. So a couple of weeks later, I had a screen test at 20th Century Fox, which you can view online if you'd like. It shows me they wanted to see some physical stuff. And I was one of the very first people to learn karate in the United States. We came in 1959.
Wow.
And so I did some stuff, broke a board with my hand. And then they had me, they said, okay, now we need you to do some dialogue with one of the other actors who's trying out for the part. So I was introduced to Adam West, and before we did our screen test together, we were each handed a couple of pages of text, and all it said on it was Bruce and Dick. Didn't say anything about Batman, didn't say anything like that, just simply Bruce and Dick. So I had no idea what the project was, but after talking to Adam West for about 5 minutes, the two of us were laughing, and I think for the last 52 years we've never stopped laughing. We just got along really, really great. Wonderful, incredible. So we did the screen test, and I said, thank you very much. And they said, wait, don't go over this trailer over here, and we've got 2 wardrobe men there, and they have some clothes they want to help you put on, and so that we can do this second part of the screen test. And I stopped for a second. I guess I was surprised. I said, well, you know, I'm perfectly capable of dressing myself. They said, oh, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. So you just go over there, and I went over there, and sure enough, there was these 2 wardrobe guys, and I went into this trailer, this giant long couch, and on the couch was just so much stuff. You know, I figured it must be for 3 or 4 different people or something. And so I asked them, I said, am I going to put some of this on? They said, no, you're going to put all of it on. I said, what? So I put this costume on. It was the most uncomfortable thing in my entire life I've ever put on. I have never been in such agony. And I could hardly walk. And I turned around to these guys as I was stepping out the door. I said, well, I'm going to do this screen test for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then I'm coming back and I'll never have to wear this costume again. Famous last words. Right? So I did the screen test and I looked at this costume. I still didn't know anything to do with superheroes. I had no idea. You see, where I grew up, they had Superman comic books, but they didn't have Batman and Robin. So, and then when I saw Adam West in this costume, I mean, I couldn't figure out what is this? And I'll never forget the first time he turned around and I saw his eyes. See, his eyes in the cowl were crossed, and it just made me laugh instantly. And I said, wait, we got to do the scene. No laughing, please. We got to be very serious, you know. And so anyway, long story short, I did the screen test. Still didn't know what it was. Left, and for the next 6 weeks, I started getting phone calls from the studio. Well, what's your shoe size? Oh, well, okay. Now, what's your hat size? Well, I don't wear a hat. Well, go get your head measured. All of this stuff. Why are they calling me asking for this? And then 6 weeks later, I got a call from these agents, and they said, well, we'd like you to come in and sign contracts. I said, oh, well, great. So I figured, gee, they really were going to take me on and represent me. So I went in to sign the contract, but when I sat down and looked at it, it said 20th Century Fox on the contract. It didn't say the name of the agency. And I asked them, well, what's this? They said, it's your contract with the studio. You don't know that you have the part? I said, no. They said, you mean the studio didn't tell you? No. And it turns out the studio said, you mean the agents didn't tell you that? So I had this part for about 4 of the 6 weeks, and I didn't even realize it. So that, you know, in a lot of words, is how I got the role. Yes, ma'am.
What was your chemistry like with Adam West?
Amazing. Adam and I had a certain chemistry that, and I wish, believe me, I wish you were here now, that you put the 2 of us together and we didn't have to say a word. You would immediately start laughing. And I don't know if it was because his nature was that of this very grand, bigger than life. You know, I mean, people ask me, well, I see him on the show, but what was he like off the show? And I'll tell you, he was exactly the same. He thought of himself like Winston Churchill. I mean, he thought of himself in these gigantic, grand terms. And in fact, one time he said to me, he really understood what it was like to play Batman when he watched Charlton Heston play Moses and part the Red Sea. Dead serious, my friend. So, and I was always a kid, never grew up, still haven't. A lot older than a kid, but nevertheless, it's the same. And we just have had an amazing relationship. And I really tell you, I believe one of the reasons our show was so successful is that the 2 of us had a great time. We played everything straight, so the kids saw it as the hero worship. The adults saw the nostalgia of the comic books. But the teenagers and the college kids that at that time in history did not watch television. Now, for the first time, maybe, we're watching our show because of the campy style, the double meanings, the insinuations, the suggestive things that we said and did. And as a result of that, we had a gigantic audience. It was the #1 show in the world. The night that it came out, which was Tuesday, January 12, 1966, Batman had a 55 share. What that meant was, in the entire of North America, of all the televisions on in North America, 55% were watching Batman. And the other 45% were sharing other stations, local and network. And so it was really gigantic. To give you an idea, it was bigger than the Super Bowl. That's the kind of movie. And it became a smash hit. You know, there were people that were doing the Batusi and women that were having their hairstyle in a Batman hairstyle, and kids were putting capes on or bath towels around their neck, and jumping off their couch, and just everything you can imagine. It was really spectacular. Yes, sir.
What was it like to work with Burgess and Frank and Julie and Victor?
Well, they were all great, and people ask me all the time, "Oh, you had so many great stars, but which was your favorite?" And there wasn't a favorite, because every one of these people was somebody that I grew up watching either on television or film. You know what I mean? And so every one of these was a star to me, and I was like the kid in the candy store that I was thrilled to have the opportunity to work with. And there were some really famous, very, even way before I was born, actors and actresses. Like, for example, Tallulah Bankhead played Black Widow. And in that same show, one of the old bad guys, George Raft, was in that show. For any of you that are older, you might remember. But we had wonderful actors in that. Burgess Meredith, the consummate professional, Cesar Romero, never missed a line. I mean, he was just unbelievable. Frank Gorshin became a very dear friend of mine. Very funny, just naturally funny, with a completely rubber face. I mean, his face, he could do anything with his face. And one of my favorites also was Vincent Price, and who played Egghead. But I must tell you, when he first came on the set, because I had seen some of his movies, and I was, to be honest with you, a little afraid. When I first saw him, like, ooh. But he turned out to be a great guy. There was a funny scene, if you'd like to know some of the stuff that you can't read about. I have a scene near the end of that show where he like grabbed me around the neck, and with his arm, and he was taking eggs and breaking them on my head. And the Batman came into the scene. The two of them were to have dialogue. And then Egghead was to let go of me, and I was to pick up an egg and throw it at him, hit him in the face with the egg. Well, Adam and him kind of got together and said, "Let's mess up the egg. Let's have some fun." You have to understand, they were breaking 3 eggs on my head, Egghead was, every time the scene did. So when you do it like 6 or 7 times, it's like almost 21 eggs. And I was getting dizzy from that. I mean, I know you wouldn't think so, but you get hit with 21 eggs, and they're still hard. And I had egg shampoo, I called it, going down my back into my undershorts. It was not fun. It was not fun. So finally, when they got it right, they thought they'd kind of tease me enough. They got it right. That instead of just picking up an egg and throwing it at the egghead, I picked up a whole dozen eggs. And instead of throwing it, I went over and I hit him so hard on his egg, the top of his head, that it actually moved the egg. So if you watch closely, you can see his egg was a little off tilt. It wasn't seen. I was furious. Yes, sir?
She's had her half a longer, so I'd rather go first.
You like to have a question? All right. Are you Robin? That's what you said to me earlier. All right, there we go.
How young were you when you started acting?
Well, I started acting. Well, what is starting? Me starting professionally, or starting training, or, I mean, actually, I started in show business much younger than most people. My father owned a traveling ice show, and my father, which was the predecessor to Ice Tea. And at age 2, he put me in the show, and I skated by myself around an arena, which is, pretty something here for a 2-year-old, right? So I started working at age 2, and then started acting when I got the part of Robin. And let's see, I'm 29 now. So I was 20 years old, going on 21, had to have my contract approved by court because I wasn't old enough legally to sign an agreement. So that's the answer. Yes, sir.
Return of the Cape Crusader is the most brilliant animated movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, thank you.
It gives everything else, just like Adult Swim had a debut with Batman and created it. I mean, it was fantastic.
Well, listen, I've got a surprise for you, although you probably know, a week from Tuesday, our second feature from Warner Brothers comes out. It's called Batman versus Two-Face. And I can tell you, it's even better. It is amazing. Adam West did the voice of Batman before he passed on. Did a great job. I did the voice of Robin. And Two-Face, this villain from the comic books, that's not in our series, but from the comic books, is portrayed by none other than William Shatner. So here you have two most iconic TV shows in history, Batman and Star Trek, and the actors working together. And I'll tell you something, he is phenomenal. He is amazing. Two-Face is also two characters in one. He plays both of them fabulous. Yes, sir.
Who's your favorite villain?
Well, like I said earlier, I've worked with so many actors.
There are no favorites.
Not necessarily one, but there were a lot of favorites, if you know what I mean. A lot of people that I had a thrill working with. Yes, yes, sir.
Oh, yes. I was wondering, you said a lot of holy references in the show. Which ones are some of your favorite holy things?
Well, you have to understand the script writers wrote those. However, because we had 32 different writers, not all of them got the style of Batman the way that Adam and I envisioned it and the way the producers envisioned it. So they gave me the flexibility to make changes. In the series, the 120 episodes, I said 378 roles. 178. When you added the Batman movie, it went to over 400. So, you know, it wasn't that there was a favorite. It had to be tied to something we were doing. In other words, it had to make sense. And sometimes they would write something that didn't have anything to do with what we were doing, so I got to change it. And by the way, for those of you who might be interested, because Batman was a really sophisticated show in terms of production value, with all the explosions, the effects, and the contraptions and stuff like that, the producers and the director and the crew mainly focused on all these effects to make them work. So Adam and I, other than me, basically said, well, you know, we'd like you to do this when you're in the car, or we'd like to do this at the Batmobile. We were basically left to do things the way we wanted. So when you watch the show and you see me jump over the door into the car, or jump over the door out of the Batmobile, that was something I just did on my own. I even like walked along the edge in one of the couple of shows where I walked along the edge of the Batmobile. I didn't realize that George Barris, who made the Batmobile, was having fits, you know, watching me and saying, oh my God, to ruin the paint job and all this kind of stuff, you know. But it was part of the thing. Things like hitting my fist into my palm and all of the stuff that you saw were stuff that I was able to do by myself. And in fact, just so you know, give it a perspective, there were 1,100 young actors interviewed for this role. 1,100. And when I was selected, the executive producer, William Dozier, came to me and said, would you like to know why we selected you to play the part of Robin? I said, yes, sir. And he said, the reason we selected you was because if there really was a Robin, forget television, there really was a Robin, we personally think that you would be in. So we don't want you to quote act. We really just want you to be yourself and be enthusiastic, which is what I did.
Burt, I have to interject. I'm getting the sign that it is almost time for your flight. But before you go, this is something we did the other day that I just love. If everybody closes their eyes, could you give us a holy Hamilton Batman? I swear,
That's not one of the scripts.
It's 1966 all over again when he does this. It's crazy. Everybody close your eyes. Go ahead.
Holy Hamilton, Batman! Yes, next Sunday, a week from today, William Shatner and I will be at the New York Comic Con, where they will premiere the movie. Going to come, be shown to the people at the Comic Con. There's over 100,000 people that are going to be there, and then we're going to do a panel, do a lot of press. Then Tuesday, which is the 10th, it'll be digital download, and a week from that day, October 17th, Batman will be released Blu-ray and DVD. And by the way, I was given a really pleasant surprise by Warner Brothers on that DVD that's going to be available. And if you pick up a copy, you'll get this as well. There's a featurette, and the featurette is 14 minutes long, and it's called The Wonderful World of Burt Warren, which, I mean, to be honest with you, you know, to me, growing up, that was Disney's. You know, I didn't think I heard that. But in any event, they talk about the fact that the friendship that Adam and I had, the fact that from being, I like to say, from the Cape Crusader to the Canine Crusader, of, you know, we were rescuing lives on Batman, and now I'm saving animals' lives, all of which is pure charity. The fact also, not yet in Canada, but coming, my wife and I, taking nothing from it, have created a dog food called Gentle Giants, that our dogs are living up to 27 years, healthy and active. No one in the world has been able to do this. It's going to be coming to Canada. We take nothing from it. In fact, it sells for half the price of what you pay for dog food in a pet store. We like to say half the price is twice the life. That's our charity. We've got more projects to do with Warner Brothers and another big TV series that I'm working